That's
He'll be
part
the
of it
he'll
too.
be the king of that kingdom. I mean, and they got a young team. I think who has a better chance to win in the next couple years, the Eagles or Miami? So, and I think I'm not positive on this. I'm not 100%, but I think he has some sort of affinity for Brian Flores, the coach.
3 times this year, the opposing team's quarterback has completed 80% or more of his passes. 80. Not 65, not 68, not 70, not 70. 80% of his passes or more. Appreciate you jumping aboard Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel with Mac and Mac, McMullen and McDonald. We are joined by an esteemed colleague, or at least he thinks so. Now, we're only kidding. We love whenever Bob Grotz joins us.
Very esteemed. I always got no. You're on mute, Bob.
Let's see if you can push.
We can't hear you.
This is not a YouTube problem. This is not an unforced error.
This is a Bob Grotz unforced error. We're seeing it live. We're seeing it live, and he can hear me. Let's see if this goes.
He can hear you. Hopefully, he can hear me. The question is, can we hear him? That's what we need. We got to be able to see Bob Grotz. He's a handsome man, but we really do bring him on for his
Bob,
verbal
click
insight.
out and click back in. Maybe that works. Click out and click back in. Hopefully, we get him back. Bob is hilarious. By the way.
You know what? You know how this all started, McMullen? It's my fault. This is on me. I said it wasn't a great football Friday because I don't think the Eagles are going to win.
I'm usually the pessimistic one, and Bob's even more pessimistic than me.
Right.
You're supposed to be
I'm the happy tune here, and I'm singing a sour one because I think the Eagles are going to lose. And this ties into the point you made because you said, well, at least it's a potentially winnable game. Was it a potential winnable game against the Chiefs? Probably not. Was it a potential winnable game against the Bucs? Probably not. This should be a potentially winnable game. Maybe that's why it's annoying me so much because you're right. The argument you make, the stance you're taking is on point. Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to win. Grotz is probably going to love me today because that is the case. All right, we got his smiling face. The question is, can we hear Bob Grotz?
Yeah, well, he's still got the mute thing there.
Can you really tell that by looking at his screen? That
he's got that. See, the microphone has the X out on it.
Did you see that? You got better eyes than me. I couldn't see that on his screen.
Yeah, I don't have great. I tell that to my wife. She claims I don't see anything. Although that might be, not wanting to see certain things more than anything else.
Selective loss of vision.
Yes, thank you. Yes. I couldn't think of that. It's not good for a journalist. Can't think of a word, Joe.
No, but it could be good. I think.
Here we go.
There we go.
There he is. Yeah.
Third time is a charm.
Man in the house.
Yeah, I got the handheld, guys.
Yeah. Oh, we got the hand. We had to change. All right.
Am I allowed to say that on your show, the handheld?
Yes, absolutely. This is YouTube. You say whatever you want.
Thank God for that.
I'm not going to go unforced error there like Nick Sirianni. I think that was a technical error. We had some technical errors. It's Technical Error Friday.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got Bob Grotz. That's exciting.
Hey, how about this, guys? I got to get this off my head, off my mind here. Howie Roseman sends an investigator down to Houston to check out Deshaun Watson. Yeah. That's got to inspire confidence.
By the way,
in Deshaun, right?
By the way,
a guy snooping around.
I'm 98% sure how he's sent down to Houston. And I don't know if investigator is the best term, but I digress.
Well, hold on. You guys got more info than I have. I need more information. Do we know who this investigator is?
Right. I think I know.
John thinks he does. I wonder if they sent Nick down there, over the mini bye week, go down there and see what you can sniff out there, Nick.
Yeah, go down. They did this months ago. Months ago.
But how about that? I mean, isn't that the best way to get someone to want to come to your team, investigate them?
Well, in the Eagles' defense, you have to investigate the guy.
Well,
I mean, You have
So,
to. You
wait,
have to get
hold
him.
on. Are you telling me he didn't send Howard Eskin down? Is that
That would
I
have been
don't
good.
think
Yeah,
I don't think Howard
Howard's
could.
a
Yeah,
crack report? He gets to the bottom of things.
that's
He
a
can
long
get to the
trip.
bottom of it.
That's a long trip.
Maybe they just called up Daryl Morey. He's got a lot of contacts in Houston. Maybe he knows. But
He's the last guy I would call right now.
Ooh.
You believe he brought that problem into the locker room? I mean, that's too much. That's another story for another show. But
yeah,
I'm not faulting him for that whole saga, but he's got a part in this.
well, let's talk about Deshaun Watson since we brought him up, and the Eagles have had interest in him dating back months, and Jeffrey Lurie has evidently given the all clear, but Deshaun Watson hasn't given the all clear. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play here. So why do people keep talking about it? I guess they're going to keep talking about it until he ends up in Miami.
Yeah, because the Eagles are 2-4, and there's going to be a lot. It's not just the Eagles after this year, but there's going to be a lot of teams looking at quarterbacks. I mean, if you just check around, I mean, you can't tell me that Carolina's not going to want another quarterback. Just looking at the teams that they played, Atlanta, they need a quarterback. There's a lot of that. I mean, it's going to be a real. The market is going to be it's going to be exacerbated by this need in the offseason. And that's if you want ready-made quarterbacks. Some of the good guys, but you bring those guys in and you expend a lot of resources doing it. And what kind of a window are you going to have? And I heard a part of your show the other day with Marcus Hayes, because I just had to. I don't know how I got there, but it was pretty good.
I love Marcus.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Jody called him out because he said you're going to waste the window of guys like Fletcher Cox, and I was thinking, what window?
Okay,
that thing is done.
I'm going to have to do battle with field growth. All right, before we do that, though. Here's one thing that you alluded to. We've been talking about it forever, but I don't know why it struck me differently today. Deshaun Watson's desire to come here to Philadelphia, that it's being reported, you guys, others, that he has no real desire to come to Philadelphia. But he's good with Miami. And Bob Grotz just said, yeah, the Eagles are 2-4. Miami's 1-5.
Yeah,
the Dolphins are worse than the Eagles.
Well,
so is it South Beach? Is it the weather? Why is going to Miami a good thing for Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
But God forbid he come to Philadelphia, where they only won a Super Bowl 4 years ago.
Can I take
the
this?
Dolphins won their last Super Bowl, 30 years ago?
Bob. You take this, Bob.
I'll take this. Stephen Ross.
Yeah.
That's why he wants to go there.
He'll
be the king of that kingdom. I mean, and they got a young team. I think who has a better chance to win in the next couple years, the Eagles or Miami? So, and I think I'm not positive on this. I'm not 100%, but I think he has some sort of affinity for Brian Flores, the coach. I think he can relate to the guy, and he looked like a real up and coming star before this year. And I think probably those Deshaun Watson rumors, I don't see how they could settle Tua. And Fitzpatrick wasn't there. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he wasn't there to kind of calm things down and remind everyone that it was a business. So I think you had a little bit of that. And they got some tough breaks with injuries too, like a lot of teams do. But if you ask me, I'd have to take a better look at the roster, I guess. But I think they have a better chance to win in the next 2, 3, 4 years than the Eagles.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's a football-related decision. It's a personal preference. He's got business interests down there, and that's, John McClain has said he's comfortable in that area. There is no taxes, all that, the weather, all that plays into it. Bob's right, though, with Brian Flores. And Stephen Ross loves the guy. So.
He'll give him whatever he wants. Yeah. I mean, he'll do whatever it takes. Now, won't have as many resources, but I don't think right now, to me, the Eagles are not the preferred destination, for a Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, that type of thing. Deshaun Watson. I don't think they're the preferred destination. So I don't know if
But
that
I don't
with
think it's
Watson's
Eagles
problems,
related
I
as much as an individual decision. Each individual decision's a little bit different. Rodgers wants to be on the West Coast. The 49ers are stupid. They're stupid 15 different times. He'd love to play for them, but they won't wait.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that, but you got to ask yourself why the Eagles would be a preferred destination right now for an elite type quarterback. And I'm all ears.
Well,
Well,
I'll give you,
yeah.
well,
It's not looking
first,
good right now.
let
Devontae
me say
Smith?
this. The Philadelphia Eagles have supposedly sent down an investigator to see if they can get some background information on this whole Deshaun Watson mess. Is perhaps the reason he doesn't want to come to Philadelphia? Miami has better masseuses?
That's the easy
if
joke.
that is a moving.
And by the way, I think they do. So if that is the
given it, well, then Jeff Lurie's got to upgrade his masseuse game here in town. Come on, Jeff, pull some strings. Get some key masseuses here in Philadelphia.
There's an NFL owner joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes in there, but I'm going to get myself in trouble if I go down that. I can give you some addresses, but I'm going to get myself in trouble if I do.
And I'll give him some more time here. I'll give Jalen Hurts some more time, but I'm starting to wonder if he really is the answer too. And I think that this offense that they're running right now, I don't know how they're going to change the whole thing. Well, you can't change the whole thing during the mini bye, the break here, but I just think it's too predictable. And while Hurts has been really good in the red zone, particularly inside the 10-yard line this year, the rest of that field, he's just the decision making and in that offense and I can't blame. I don't know who to blame there. I don't know whether that's all he can do is really well as the red zone in close, or the rest is it the offense, the rest of the field. There's just so many issues there, and so many different types of breakdowns that it's really hard to sort that out. But I just had that feeling right now that with all that draft capital the Eagles have, and this not exactly breaking news, but I think they're going to bring in another guy next year.
All right. The Eagles had extra time to self-evaluate this week because they had the Thursday night game against the Dolphins. I need you to give me a possibility of Bob Grotz. Is there a chance that with all these extra days and extra hours of available tape work and consultation, somehow, some way they came up with the concept of, hey, why don't we run the football more than we do? Is there any chance that came out of all of this self-evaluation?
Yeah, I definitely do. If you look at some of the Raiders games, their next opponent, they don't do a great job stopping the run. Especially between the tackles. That'll be interesting. And I think Miles Sanders could hit some of those against this team. So, I think they got a shot this week. Just looking at the Raiders, wow. I mean, all that turnover, that change from Gruden to Bisaccia, yeah. He's still getting used to wearing the headphones. He couldn't find a comfortable way to adjust to that mic and all that stuff. I mean, that's clearly Derek Carr's team. It's like he's kind of like the player coach right now. So they definitely have a shot this week. I think running I think it's probably going to be back on the table a little bit. I don't know how they're going to, that read option. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit less of that. But we're still looking at some of the same things with that offense. I mean, in terms of you can't change everything. They kind of are who they are. So I don't know. You're just going to have to bite the bullet, I think. And but I do think they have a shot. I mean, this could get, if the Raiders make a few mistakes and they really don't. But they're due. I think they're 4 turnovers. That's it. I think they have the fewest turnovers in the league. So, but the good part about that, they're all interceptions. So, and the Eagles can have picked off some passes. Just a lot of stuff In terms of the bye with the players, Jody, I just get the feeling that they just really needed to chill. I don't know how much football work they did. The coaches looked at some stuff and how much that can help you in a few days. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much the coaches did either out of group text. Well, Michael Clay was golfing, so
that revelation by Nick Sirianni about you're watching games. Obviously, he was watching on his phone. You're trying to do some of your outside football work, and you're watching games. And then you start texting your colleagues, and that's kind of a learning tool. That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, man. It'd be like.
By the way, if I were on that group text, I would mute that group text. I'm trying to watch the game. Clowns, get off here.
Well, I would mute it. I would mute it because I don't want it being used against me like 50 years later.
That's a good point as well. Now, I do want to rewind to Jalen Hurts for a couple of reasons. One, you said, and I agree with you, it's tough to figure out what the issue is here. But we do have now all the Deshaun Watson stuff bubbling up. It'll be done good or bad by November 2nd because he's either got to get moved or he's staying in Houston for the rest of the season on ice. But Jalen Hurts has got to hear these things too. He knows the Eagles are not all in on him. And, he's a very even-tempered guy. You think that's affecting him? And then the offense as a whole, Bob, you mentioned, if I had to pin you down and force you, is it the scheme or is it the quarterback? In other words, is Nick Sirianni trying to protect the quarterback or is this just a terrible offense? What's your best guess?
I hate to do this thing, but I think it's both of those entities. I think you have a coaching staff that's trying to figure out what he does best, and they think they know, but they don't really know. And I think he struggled in some of those decisions. They lead to what do they call them, off schedule plays and that.
Yeah, off schedule.
Too many times he just it just takes like a certain look, even like not a zone blitz or something, and it just blows up the play. And this shouldn't be happening as much as it happens. So and all it takes is a couple of those to in a quarter to just kind of short circuit the offense. And Nick was talking about how you have to run so many plays before you understand what the defense is doing, and if you had 3 and outs, it takes longer because you only had 3 plays and 3 plays. That type of thing. We're really starting to get into an area that if I was a coach, I'd feel uncomfortable talking about that. I would just go back to I got to do a better job and that type of thing. And Nick still is learning about being a head coach in Philadelphia, and that Jason Kelsey rant the other day. I mean,
was awesome.
that was directed at athletes, but I think a lot of people have to take a look at that, and realize, like what their role is, and I'm talking about the coaching staff. Like you guys, you're not part of the players. You're trying to connect with the players and everything, but you're the coaches, and you got to. I think that line is blurred a little bit too. So you need more urgency, and I think they got to be a little bit tougher on these guys.
All right, both of you guys beating up on the offense pretty good, and they deserve it. I'm not suggesting that you're.
I can't even get to the defense.
Well, I'm going to try and get to the defense because I saw this great stat from our buddy Reuben Franks that I hadn't noticed I should have. That the Eagles have played 6 games so far. 3 times this year, the opposing team's quarterback has completed 80% or more of his passes. 80, not 65, not 68, not 70, not 70. 80% of his passes or more. Now they're pretty talented guys named Mahomes and Brady.
Yeah,
they're very good players, but 80%. How is that zone defense that Jonathon Gannon's running working if the other team's quarterback is allowed to complete 80% of his passes?
Yeah, those are all elite guys. You have to put a a couple of asterisks in there. And look at the receivers too, Jody. I mean, that, and when I watch some of these games, these other games on TV, and I see the scores and the points run up and everything, and it still comes down to a stop here or there, and that's what they've not been able to do, make that critical stop. But yeah, I mean, that stat is nasty, that 80% stat, and but they weren't really in those games, if you ask me. They think they were, but I don't think they were in the Dallas game. And I think they were just always playing from behind and against Kansas City, and definitely even against Tampa. And Tampa just wanted to get the game over with. So I don't think they need to get that signature stop. It doesn't have to be a goal line play, but that signature stop, the way they did in, say, the Carolina game, where they intercepted Darnold at the end of that game, and or they, against Atlanta, that was totally different. So, can the defense do that against teams that are, not the elite teams? I think they can do that, and I got to admit, this team, the talent level on that, I had a lot of questions coming into the year. It's not as bad as I thought it was, the talent level. But all that said, I still think the rest of this year is a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say to Jody, I'll add in that the Eagles' goal is to stop explosive plays in the passing game. They've largely done that. If you go back to the Tampa game, the Antonio Brown play was 27 yards. That was the longest passing play of the game. You go back to Kansas City until the end when they broke Tyreek Hill. Here's the problem with the Eagles defense. They're trying to play the bend but don't break, but they break. They don't come up with the play. They don't come up to play with the stop it. Alex Singleton was talking about this yesterday. That's why I don't give the defense as much blame as the offense. They're accomplishing what they want to do. They're just not making the play. With the offense, I don't know what they're trying to do. Does that make sense to either of you? You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I hear what you're saying, John, but here's the problem. If you die by a gash across the throat, that's one thing. If you die by a gash of 1,000 little paper cuts, guess what? Doing. At the end of the day, there's an autopsy going on. Death is death. It doesn't matter how you die, when you die, and Eagles defense has died too much this year.
But at least I can see the plan. They're not executing the plan. They're not being successful with the plan on too many occasions. But at least I know what they're trying to accomplish. I don't know what the hell the offense is trying to accomplish on a week-to-week basis. That's why I'm more concerned with that side of the ball.
Yeah, there are a lot of that last game. What was that block? It was like 5 or 6 3-and-outs and an interception. How can you, that put me to sleep almost. And, I couldn't imagine calling all those plays if I was Nick Sirianni. So,
bubble screen, slip screen, regular screen.
You just know, what the repertoire is, and that's why I don't really know whether they're gonna just change the way that they do this whole thing. But Jody, I think you will see some more runs this week. Yeah, more than we've seen. So
you have to almost.
Yeah, you got to do something. You got to do something with to keep Derek Carr, to keep him off the field a little bit. Once he gets in a rhythm, he'll cut you to pieces.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, leading, if you go by yardage, leading passer in the National Football League, Tom Brady, aided by being able to throw it all over the Eagles last Thursday. Number 2, Derek Carr. So 2 weeks running, they played against one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the National Football League when it comes to yardage through the airways. Not good for the Birds.
Well, their Super Bowl. Their Super Bowl is in 2 weeks, Jody.
The what?
The Eagles Super Bowl is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Detroit
against the Lions.
We're talking Lions here? Okay.
That's their Super Bowl.
Dan Campbell. There's a guy I'm absolutely taking Nick Sirianni over. Coaching matchup Eagles, Lions, advantage Philadelphia. Because
I don't know. You got Deuce there. Deuce Staley. Dave Pip.
Deuce also a member of the 0-6 Lions staff. So sorry, Deuce, you're guilty by association. Let me take it completely out to left field. John kind of got, he laughed at me the other day because I got perturbed by Howie Roseman just blatantly looking in the camera and lying and saying, well, I don't look at us as sellers. Just because we traded Zach Ertz, a contributing member to our offense, which has enough issues to begin with, we're giving opportunities to our other young players, Tyree Jackson, and this great young cornerback who couldn't get on the field for the Arizona Cardinals over 6 games, despite the fact that they got injuries up the Yahoo at the cornerback position. But no, we're adding. We're not sellers here. It was a blatant sell. It was an unquestioned sell in my mind. And I understand he can't come out and just say, yeah, we're packed it in already. We've given up for the year. So he's got to be very judicious in the way that he says this. Let me flip the script completely. What's the chance that if the Eagles win this week, which I don't think is going to happen, John doesn't think is going to happen. Sounds like you don't think it's going to happen either, Bob. But we're all surprised and Eagles get a win. Any chance they turn to buyers leading up to the NFL draft? And I'm not talking about Deshaun Watson. I'm talking about using some of that $22 million cap room they have to get a player who can help them win this year.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't. And I thought that this was just a culture building year from the beginning. So the answer would be no. And I still think they may end up dealing somebody like Derek Barnett. They don't have his rights next year. Someone you might be able to get something for that. You might be able to get a second-day pick for him, a pass rusher. They kind of made it clear that they think Josh Sweat is the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if they dealt another guy or two. Like although there's, you look at that roster, who you're going to want that's reliable, that doesn't get hurt. So, but I think Barnett, if he's healthy, and again I say that, what is he? He's got a foot injury, John. So he'd still have to pass the physical, right?
Yeah.
But
the problem with Derek is he makes too much money. I don't think because he makes $10 million.
I could see a contender though.
Yeah,
that needs a little bit of depth up there.
I think plenty of teams would want him, but I don't know if the value is going to be there as a second-day pick just because of the contract. Steven Nelson is a guy. Steve Nelson, because he doesn't make a lot of money. He's only on a 1-year deal. He's playing well. Everybody needs corners in this league. There's injured corners on contenders all over the place. I think he might be the underrated guy that might go.
That would be the direction that I would go. I mean, I still don't. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. And if you look at the way that they play, they're not a playoff team. And they have to identify the quarterback. To me, that's still the most compelling question.
Yeah,
who's going to be the quarterback? I don't think they're sold on it. Hurts. The coach has been pretty clear. Like he kind of put out a checklist on Jalen Hurts, so we know when he's playing well and when he isn't. And when he's off schedule and running around, he's not running the offense. So and that happens about maybe at least close to half the time. And I'm not saying it's all his fault. There have been some other problems. They shuffled guys along that offensive line, and that doesn't help. They got some young receivers that some of them still don't know how to run routes. I think Devontae Smith is definitely the route runner guy there. So they got a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. But still, that off schedule stuff. Once we see him, Jalen Hurts play under more control, I think then we'll be able to make an evaluation.
Here's what I'm waiting for. We get back to Doug Peterson. Let the offense work for you. I'm waiting for Nick Sirianni to drop that. He's getting really close to dropping that with Jalen Hurts because he's getting a little frustrated about the off-schedule stuff and about giving up on plays too early. You can sense that.
I
Well,
just
then,
think this RPO stuff. I don't know, man. It's too collegiate. You just this is not something that
No, you don't build
I've
an
heard other
NFL.
people say it. They're not. I mean, they used. I heard one guy, refer to it as a high school offense.
That
Like
was Seth. Seth.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Seth said that, but
it was Seth Joyner on
oh,
Eagles
did he?
Post Game
Okay.
Show. Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, that's I mean, and what is a high school offense? It's predictable. I'll tell you that.
I want both of you guys reads on this one because it bothers me greatly. If there's a bigger Devontae fan in town, I'd like them to step forward because I was a huge fan before he ever became a Philadelphia Eagle when he was still at Alabama. And I was saying he's better than Henry Ruggs, who the Eagles will see this week, and Jerry Jeudy, and Waddle, who went before him in the draft. I've loved this kid since 3 years ago at Alabama. His numbers so far this year are okay. They're not awe-inspiring. They're not off the charts good. Pro Football Focus came out with their list of the top 15 rookies in the NFL so far this year after 6 games. He's nowhere to be seen on it. He's got to take some of the blame. Hurts has got to take some of the blame. Sirianni's got to take some of the blame.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest one to take the blame?
I think the quarterback. And I think he's got plenty of arm too to make the throws, and I think he's shown us that he can make the throws, but I don't think he's. My feeling right now, he's not running the offense really well, and except like I was saying, inside the red zone when he gets in there, in the last few games he's been lethal in there. I don't understand why that doesn't translate to the rest of the field.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out who is most to blame for this mess. There's so many to choose from. I think it's too early, too easy to lean on the quarterback. But where else can you lean? I mean, where else can he go? I acknowledge what you just said, Jody. That the receivers stink except for Devontae.
Yeah.
The tight ends were good when they had Zach Ertz. Are still good with Dallas Goedert, but they don't use them. But I think that's because of the quarterback, and they don't use the running back, which I think is a little bit from column A, a little bit coaching, a little bit quarterback. So all of that, yeah, I would have to go quarterback more than coach, which is where I've been throughout the whole thing.
Bob Grotz, as always, a pleasure. Whenever you come on, we got this mute thing down. Have your hand held, and we're perfectly within our rights to use handheld all we want here on YouTube, since we tried to break down the masseuse difference between Miami and Philadelphia. We can go handheld without a problem here on YouTube. Grotzy, always a pleasure, buddy. Thanks for coming on. We'll hit you back up in a couple of weeks.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Bob Grotz doing the best Halloween impersonation. I love the dark backdrop behind him. Once we got his voice on, we knew we were ready to rock. All right, John McMullen, Jody McDonald, your Mac guys. We've got a good guest coming up now, number 2 as well. One of our buds. We will talk to Paul Domwich, longtime Eagle beat writer who's jumping in and out and got a project coming up with our own John McMullen. We'll give you details on that and get Damo's insight to the Eagles and the Raiders coming up on Sunday. We'll do all that in hour number 2